Recording. We're back. You thought the
Yeah.
podcast, you thought the podcast was done. We're back. We're back,
We
baby.
back like you never left, baby.
We're back. So I figured, so welcome back to the Dirty Dozen podcast. My name is Marco, manager of All Busters. This is my co-host Chris, manager of Need a Dub Dumbo,
Need it bad.
and we're here. We're actually playing each other this week, which is funny. My lineup looks like shit, so I'll give you an easy dub. But so we wanted to come on here and just talk about trades. We wanted to review the trades that happened this past year and give them a thumbs up, thumbs down, since everybody talks shit about trades the whole season. So let's get, when you want to get right to it, let's get right to it. So there actually isn't a lot of trades that happened this year, which is pretty surprising. Two people actually made zero trades all season. Do we want to take a guess of who those two people were?
I'm gonna bet Cataldo's one of them.
Cataldo actually made one trade on deadline day, traded Njoku for Cortland Sutton.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Vink.
Yeah,
Vink for sure.
Vink was one of them.
And Ante's got a
And
video.
takes the other one. Vink went on to the only two people not to make a trade this season. I guess they think their teams are good enough for the championship push. Teams that they drafted, so we'll see. Without further ado, let's get started. So, the first trade on the docket was probably the most talked about trade this season. It was on draft night when Grant sent his 6th round pick and his 2nd round pick to Rich for his 3rd round pick and his 5th. So it was a 6th and a 2nd for a 3rd and a 5th. Those picks ended up being, pretty sure they ended up being, so Rich ended up receiving Garrett Wilson and James Conner, and Grant ended up drafting Josh Allen and DJ Moore. So on draft night, everybody thought that that was a pretty bad trade for Grant, and I thought it was too. What say you? Well, actually, a lot of things happened. So
Yeah.
but what say you?
So the thing with the trade, I think it's hard to create it just in a vacuum because when Grant had done the trade initially on the call, he said,
Yeah.
I did it so that I could get Jalen Hurts. And given that, Grant, you had 12 and 13. Just take Jalen Hurts at 13.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Like, it's fine. Like, yeah, if you want Jalen, that's fine. Just take him at 13. I don't see why you trade back to try to take him.
And then risk, because my thing with that was when he made that trade, he made it blatantly obvious to everybody that he was going to try to get Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of people in the league that will tank what they're with their draft strategy just to piss other people off. And that's exactly what Ante did. Maybe Ante was gonna take his QB early, but he definitely took Jalen Hurts just so Grant wouldn't get him. And that's what you do. If you just, I thought what he was gonna do with the pick was, I thought he was gonna go, what did he have? He had the last pick of the draft.
Yeah, 12 and 13.
I thought he was gonna go Diggs and Josh Allen 12 and 13, but once Josh took Diggs 10, then it was like, why don't you just go AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So,
obviously, based on how it played out, though, he didn't lose the deal.
Yeah, obviously, I think it would have been way. Yeah, I think it would have been way closer had Aaron Rodgers not been hurt.
Right.
But still, Garrett Wilson and James Conner for Josh Allen and DJ Moore. I don't think that trade is a possible trade even 5-6 weeks ago. So I guess Grant won that one. And what I'll do is I'll release a thumbs up, thumbs down Word doc so that we can on a review so that we know who won what. So
tell me this. Did Grant smoke him in the trade or just beat him?
No, I just beat him. I think the only reason Grant, it looks like he smoked him, was because Aaron Rodgers got hurt, and I don't know. I still think he would have won that trade even if Aaron Rodgers didn't get hurt, but I think it would have been really close. Also, James Conner got hurt too, so next one up. Chris Scantlebury on September 29th. Chris Scantlebury traded Jaylen Warren to Josh for Dalvin Cook.
But Goose cooked. Oh my gosh.
Okay, well, I don't think we need to spend much time on that one. Jalen,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll give a little explanation.
yeah, go
So,
ahead. What is yours?
um, admittedly, at that point in the season, I was sitting with Kyron Williams, David Montgomery, Saquon Barkley, I, Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen. At that point in the season, I'm like, when am I ever going to use Jalen Warren?
Yeah,
And the Jets are going to suck, so they're going to run the ball. And I'm like, all right, like if Brees Hall gets hurt, I get Dalvin Cook with the starting backfield.
yeah.
And admittedly, I love Josh, and on draft night he seemed sad when I took Jalen Warren. So I was like, all right, I'll give you your guy back for the potential.
Well, I thought the same thing too. I was holding Dalvin Cook for a little bit just in case Brees Hall got hurt because they
Yeah,
use the run game a lot, but Dalvin Cook is useless. That was what you call a class A fleece.
yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Next on the list was 12 days later, October 11th. I traded Devonta Smith and Brian Robinson Jr. to Rich for Justin Jefferson. Now I made that trade on October 11th. Today's November 30th, and Justin Jefferson still does not play the game for my team. Brian Robinson Jr. is a top 5 running back, and Devonta Smith recently has been a wide receiver 2, or wide receiver like 1.5. So, um, I guess I'll defend. What was I? I was 5-0 at the time. And I didn't need either one of those guys, and I figured why not? If you're gonna swing big, trying to hit homers here. So that's why I did it. Obviously, Rich for now won that trade. Um, I kind of still think he will at the end of the day um, because Kirk Cousins isn't there. But I think I got a lot of people like a lot of heads turned on draft on that night. So what do you think?
I'm gonna give that a fat TBD, just
Yeah,
because like I think like admittedly running back has been like mid as hell this year. Like
yeah,
I love me some Kyron, but he's a top 5 running back in a season, and that's crazy.
yeah,
So like sure, Brian Robinson's top 5, but is he like that good? Probably not. And Devontae Smith has been cool, but Justin Jefferson, when he plays, which for you would be in the playoffs,
yeah.
is the
That's
second best player in fantasy. I can't
yeah,
like you. It's not like you took the deal and then Jefferson got hurt. You took it knowing that he was going to get hurt, so it's not like you got washed. Like
yeah.
you bought into this. I thought.
Yeah, I didn't think I thought he was gonna miss 5 weeks. I didn't think he was gonna miss weeks last week and the week before. So he is out longer than I thought. But honestly, like I I bought him for the playoffs. Like I 5-0. I figured I needed to win 2 more. Bought him for the playoffs, and now I have. He's back and he's healthy and it's week 14 and I'll have McCaffrey and Justin Jefferson. I know it's Josh Dobbs, but even if he gives me 85% of what he used to be, with Kirk, that's still 18 a game.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And Dobbs
18,
is a
19 a
slinger.
game. Yeah, so we'll see. I think it is TBD, but I would swing Rich on it for now.
Sure.
Next up we have this is a little silly. Rich traded away James Conner, who was on IR, James Conner and Keontae Ingram to Josh for Chuba Hubbard and Jeff Wilson Jr.
Eek.
I mean,
We punt both of them.
like James Conner was injured and he at least played, but like to give away James Conner for Chuba Hubbard and the third string on Miami.
Yeah. I feel like this was the Miami just scored 70 point syndrome. So it's like if I can get any player on that team, you
Yeah.
won.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't when I saw that off rip, I was like, whoa, that's
Yeah.
just that's just like a present wrapped in
Yeah.
because Josh was struggling on RB2 and like that literally gift wrapped an RB2 for him and he gave up literally nothing. Like
Mhm.
those both of those guys have belonged on waivers all season long. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um 2 for 2, Josh. Next up on the October 7th. So that was the same day as the trade that was the same day that Jefferson was traded. So he traded Jefferson and Connor.
Yeah. I think at this point, what was he like 2-4 or something? Like he was reeling, so I think he was
Yeah.
just trying to switch it up.
Yeah, if we have time, we'll talk about Rich. We'll talk about Rich later. I kind of want to give him some kudos, some props. Um, but anyway, let's keep on going because I might even just throw in another meeting here. Who knows?
Yeah,
Might
it's
even
fine.
be part one, part two.
Yeah,
Let's see. Next up, October 17th, Keenan traded Christian Watson and Jared Goff to Rich for Kirk Cousins and Zay Flowers. Rich is very active.
yeah.
Kirk Cousins, another person that Rich drafted, also on IR.
Whew.
I'll let you take the floor on this one.
I so I look at that trade and I don't have the glasses of like, well, Kirk Cousins got hurt. I'm trying to go off it based on that deal. And Christian Watson's been buns this year in fantasy. And Goff has been fine. I don't remember what Keenan's quarterback situation was outside of Kirk Cousins. Oh, it was Mahomes. Okay.
Yeah, he had
So, so
Mahomes.
so realistically, he was trading Watson for Zay Flowers, in which case I think at that point,
Yeah,
whoever got Flowers won. I forget. I guess that's Keenan now.
it was Keenan. I think on the day of that trade, I think I'd rather have Kirk Cousins fully healthy, everybody fully healthy.
Mhm.
The way this season was playing out. I'd rather have Kirk Cousins than Jared Goff, just like
Sure.
fantasy wise. And
Yeah.
I'd rather have Zay Flowers and Christian Watson.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I feel
even
like
today, like, yeah, Kirk Cousins is gone, he's
mhm.
dead. But like Jared Goff, I don't know. Like he was QB4 for a time, but even today, like I still would take Flowers over Watson. So
It's a weird situation where I feel like Rich was buying into maybe potential because Watson was the number one guy, but I would still take Flowers at that point.
yeah, me too. So so what are these? Four of these trades? Most of these trades were all Rich,
Yeah.
and he's lost all of them. He's lost all of them, and then a TBD on one of them.
Yeah.
Oh
Good on
man.
him though. It's turned the season around.
Listen, yeah, he's 6-6. That's why I said, like, I'll give kudos to him now. Like he drafted Kirk Cousins, Pat Freiermuth, Justin Jefferson, and James Conner, all who went on IR.
Yeah.
He was easily the best team after draft night and after week 1 or 2. Then his whole team like fell apart. He was losing a bunch. He traded away a bunch, and
Yeah.
now his team is pretty deep. He's in the playoffs at this moment in time, and honestly, like I'm as somebody that's already in the playoffs, I'm more afraid to play his team than Vingo or Ante's.
Hey now.
I am.
Hey
And
now.
like I'll say it. I'm more afraid to play his team. I don't want to see him on my side of the bracket.
I
Uh,
forgot he got Dak now too, who's
yeah.
been unreal.
And he crushed the waiver wire. He picked up Tank Dell for $7 and he picked up Dak Prescott for 4. That's a wide
Goodness.
receiver 1 and a QB 1 for $11 in Fab. Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
let's take another shot at Vinko. Vinko picked up Jordan Mason for $29. So
Never played.
that's how you use your Fab wisely.
Yeah. Not
And not
$81,
wisely.
but
Yeah, what is that, McDaniels or whatever?
yeah. Balling on a budget, baby.
Oh my God. All right,
Shoot.
next up, the next day, October 18th. Again, Rich. Rich traded Cortland Sutton, and geez, Rich, you were active this year. Holy shit. Rich traded Cortland Sutton and Brian Robinson Jr. for Joe Mixon.
Eh. Mix. Even given what I understand Burrow's gone, but I don't think Mix has been worth what Cortland Sutton and B Rob has been. Sutton's been like really good, like a sneaky good.
Yeah, I kind of liked him on draft night, but I was unsure because of the Broncos. But he's been as consistent as like a wide receiver 3 as they
Yeah.
come. Or
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
even a wide receiver 2, honestly. But he's as consistent as a wide receiver as it's been all season. And Brian Robinson, like, he's top. I mean, like you said, running backs have been shit, but he's at least at top. What is this? Click on him now. He's RB5.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and his numbers, he's got pretty like okay numbers for
And I see why you do the deal for Rich at that point, but those two guys have been balling out.
Yeah, I mean, I get the move for Rich. I get the move for Rich in the sense where he was flipping it to get a bigger guy. He was offering a wide receiver 3 and an RB2 for like an RB1.5. So I understand the move.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But he also already had Ramondre. Oh, Ramondre wasn't playing that well at the time,
Yeah,
so that's probably why he did it.
and
But
Josh
like,
Jacobs that too.
yeah, and Josh Jacobs was hurt. But if you, I don't know, looking at it on paper today, like I'd rather have Cortland Sutton and Brian Robinson
Yeah, yeah,
rostered
yeah.
than Joe Mixon.
100%.
I would
100%.
rather have it. Like I really would.
Rich,
So
you getting washing these, my boy.
we gotta. This is just a roast of Rich. I'm sorry, dude.
Now he's above me. Shit.
Next up, this was a good one. This was a good one. So that same day, 3 hours later, October 18th, I traded away Kenneth Walker III and Josh Palmer to Zach for Hollywood Brown and Jonathan Taylor. Would you like to give your 2 cents on that? Because I don't really think I need to. I don't really think I need to.
I would love to give my 2 cents because I feel like that was a vendetta against me at that point because I think that's when Ken Walker was about to play the Cardinals and I was about to play Zach.
Yeah.
And I was like, golly, bro. Like I was just about to get
Yeah.
away with it.
He was projected 19.5 that week.
Yeah. But yeah, you won this guy. You won this. You understand? I mean, Josh Palmer was fine when he played, but obviously he's not playing. And Ken Walker, you and I talked on the side about this. Ken Walker was like his touches were going down, and they still are. I mean, even when he's healthy, they still
Yeah,
go
you
down.
sent me that thing like week 3. You were like, "Yo, watch out, Charbonnet is coming up, coming
Yeah,
for
I
your
was like,
boy." I was
bail on
like,
him now.
I started spamming like Kenneth Walker, Kenneth Walker. Who wants him? Who wants him?
Yeah, 100%.
I figured so on draft night. I really liked him at his cost, at his value in the
Sure.
4th round. I
Mhm.
figured he was a really good. He was like the perfect RB2. Like he was gonna get you your RB2 numbers that he was getting you. And in the 4th round, I thought he was a steal there. I had him in all my mocks. I
Yeah.
took him in this one, and then I saw that he was playing. I was like, he's like a bona fide like sell high candidate, is what I thought. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, Zach originally wanted. I originally just wanted to give him Kenneth Walker for Hollywood Brown and Jonathan Taylor. He wanted Josh Palmer, and I was hesitant on it, but I was like, what the hell am I using Josh Palmer for? Like,
Yeah. Right.
Hollywood's been shit. But Jonathan Taylor, like, I don't know. I love having. I think I have the best running back 1-2 combo in the league. I think since October 18th, since that day, I think I have the best 1 and 2 combo in the
Well, and
league.
and I know you hate Hollywood or the situation Hollywood's in, but I mean they're just gonna turn it around eventually.
But yeah,
Like they just will. I mean you don't have them anymore, so you probably don't have to worry about that.
yeah.
But yeah, JT, obviously at that point in time, that's after he signed his deal. So it was like you're just hoping that he gets back to form. But like, I mean, that offense is barren without him.
Zach Moss was a top 5 running back when he wasn't playing, which
Yeah.
means that if Zach Moss was a top 5 running back and he's the backup, like what's Jonathan Taylor's usage going to look like? Considering that he was RB1 like last year, 2 years ago, whenever it was. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like that deal for me, and I think I won that deal. And
For
I
sure.
think if you go back, I think Zach would much rather have those 2 guys than the ones he has now. Kenneth Walker and Josh Palmer literally aren't even playing for him
Yeah.
anymore.
They probably
They're
won't play the rest of the
rostered and they're not even playing for him.
year. Yeah.
Um, Pleased. October 24th, 7:25 a.m. An ass crack of dawn trade. Keenan traded T. Higgins and Austin Eckler to Akul for Jahmyr Gibbs and DeAndre Swift. I thought this was such an interesting deal, and there was a lot of like who won this. This was like one of those things where a lot of people had a lot of differing opinions on it.
Hmm.
I know I had a different opinion than other people on this trade day. What did you think of this deal?
So I started to sweat immediately because at that point, I think I was 2-5 or whatever it is. Like
Yeah,
I was right above Keenan. And
yeah.
I thought that that was the move that he needed to make to say, like,
Thank
dude,
you,
DeAndre Swift
thank
and
you,
what was it? DeAndre Swift
Jahmyr
and who?
Gibbs,
I
Swift
was
and
like, dude,
Gibbs.
like, look at Gibbs now. Like, I was like, dude, like, this is gonna turn Keenan season. Or I get it, like, Eckler this and Eckler that. He's been mid this year, if we're honest.
More than
And
mid.
yeah, and T, we were just banking on like, just they would eventually turn around. I was like, Keenan just got 2 starters.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There was pushback. I said, like, I think Keenan absolutely destroyed this cool on this deal. I
Yeah,
was like, DeAndre Swift right now is an RB2. He was literally like Ken Walker
Mhm.
He's literally like a very comparable to Kim Walker. Like he's in a great offense. They run the ball a lot. Like he's playing really well. And Jahmyr Gibbs, like at the time, like Monty was dead.
Yeah,
Jahmyr Gibbs
yeah,
was going off. And
100%.
and I was like, and I think I told you, and I was like, when Monty comes back, like Gibbs is still gonna get the ball. Like this kid is playing so well. There's
Yeah,
no reason for them not to play him. So I was
yeah.
like,
They can't just bench him.
yeah, he's not gonna get 25 a game, but like he'll still, and sure enough, like he's still scoring touchdowns like it's nothing. And I was like, Eckler was the number 3 pick in the draft. He was hurt, he had one good game, then was hurt, then was like had a couple bad games. And Higgins was like a 3rd round pick, and he had one good game all season and was
Yeah,
hurt.
yep,
So Keenan was shipping away 2 injured big name guys
yeah,
for guys that aren't as big a names, but were producing from both a fantasy and a football perspective and an NFL perspective. I was like, that's just a
yeah,
home run win. And
yeah.
I
Hundred
think
percent.
if you ask a cool, he'd rather have Swift and Gibbs today than Eckler and T. Higgins.
Yeah, and I think at that time I'd offered Keenan, um, was Kyron and something else. This is when Kyron just got hurt,
Yeah,
and he had said no for this deal. And when I saw the deal, I was like, okay, yeah, you got to take that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. So Keenan's got 2 W's on this already.
Hmm.
Next up, another Keenan deal happened 10:20 p.m. Wow, Keenan was working that day.
Yeah.
7:25 a.m. and a 10:20 p.m. deal. I
Phone was
traded
ringing.
I traded him Dalton Schultz and Sam Howell for Kirk Cousins.
So obviously he won it because of the injury, but at that
Yeah,
point, I don't think you could like judge it like that. I mean, Schultz has been great recently.
yeah.
Uh,
Schultz actually had a bad game last game, and I think he might have fallen off a little bit, but
okay,
I don't think there's. So I lost this trade because the situation's like 3 days after this trade was made, Cousins towards Achilles.
right.
Sam Howell leads the league in passing yards, and Dalton Schultz now is like a top 10 tight end.
Yeah,
And I don't have a tight end, so
that's another factor. I was gonna say that's something to factor in. Like,
so the thing is like this is the one deal um that I was making for like the future, and I was like, okay, Fields is hurt, Kirk Cousins comes, I can either start Fields or Kirk and then move one of those two. And I was like, a Kirk Hawk stack and then a Kirk Jetta stack is really damn good,
mhm.
and then I can move Fields for something else.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and I didn't need the second tight end because I had Hawk, and I didn't like Sam Howell because he scored 9.5 points for me the week before.
yeah, yeah.
This is a move that in hindsight 2020, I never needed to make.
But like,
Uh,
did you really like? Okay, so you obviously based on production, you lost that piece, but it's like I don't know that your team needs that now. What you
well,
gave
yeah,
up?
but yeah, I gave up. Well, if I had just kept Sam Howell, he was fine. I didn't really need Kirk Cousins. Even if Kirk Cousins didn't get hurt, I really didn't need him because Sam was doing just fine, and Dalton Schultz was a good backup tight end.
I see. All right.
So I
Yeah.
never really needed to make the deal.
Sure.
I don't think I think if I go back, I'd probably still make that deal. Rich actually
Right.
texted me and said that he loved that deal for me. And I agreed. I thought it was a great deal for me too, but whatever. I lost it. Keenan won twice that day.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Next
Are you
up,
sensing a pattern between whether or not you win trades and what your season looks like?
me personally or just people in general?
Just people in general. Keenan won every trade and is in last place. Rich lost every trade based on
And
what
now
we're saying.
yeah, it's just
Like
it's funny. Trades don't really.
that's why I
It's
do none this year.
yeah, it doesn't. At the end of the day, I guess it just doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Is what we're figuring out here.
Yeah.
Um, but but it's funny now to look back on it and see like people were making moves, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It really
Right.
doesn't matter.
100%. You just get
Um,
those.
this is a stupid one. A cool traded Pierre Strong Jr. to Grant on October 25th for Joshua Kelly.
Yeah, they both
I don't even know
asses.
who lost that or won that. It doesn't.
They both
I
lost
would
for
just
even
call that.
talking about it.
Yeah, yeah. I would just yeah. I would just say they both lost because that's just a stupid move to make.
Yeah. And
Um,
we lost for having to talk about it on this too.
yeah, agreed. So everyone lost.
Yeah.
Everyone lost. That's a shit trade. What's next? A cool traded D. So October 31st, Halloween, scary hours. A cool
Mhm.
traded DK Metcalf to Chris S for Devontae Adams.
You tell me what you think.
2 days later, or a day later, they fire McDaniels, and then
I was
Devontae's like, "Yeah, let's go." Now we're. Oh,
talk to me.
I would. I don't know. I don't know who I think they're both really like overrated this year, honestly. Metcalf has had some good games. Devontae has been better. I guess I would rather have Devontae Adams than DK Metcalf right now.
Would you rather have Devontae with Aiden O'Connell
But
than
I
DK
can
with Gino?
I I don't know. Like it to me it's a lot of just who's producing.
Yeah,
Like Zach Wilson, Garrett Wilson had Zach Wilson and the kid was averaging 13 targets a game. Like
sure.
I I'd rather have Devontae Adams than DK Metcalf at this point in time,
Sure.
but I don't think either one of you necessarily lost that deal.
I was gonna say, I think it's a push just
Yeah,
because DK, obviously, it doesn't necessarily always turn into production. But DK at that point just came off like a 13 target game.
yeah,
Like DK's getting targeted a lot, and his quarterback is better than the one in Oakland
yeah,
or Vegas. Devontae's just great, you know.
yeah. I do think this is a push. Let's see. This was October 31st. I don't know what week that was, but you said he was coming off a 13 target game, so that must have been 3 weeks ago. So I mean, let's call it since week 9. Since week 9. So since week 9, Metcalf is wide receiver 34, which is like crazy. Wide receiver 34.
Mm-hmm.
Last he was what is 6 points, 16.8, 20.4, 6.2. Um, he's averaging 12.9 a game. Devontae Adams does have a 40 bomb in there, but um, since week 9, 7.4, 14.6, 21.2, 12.3. Devontae Adams also has 2 games of 13 targets each in those games, one against the Jets, one against Miami.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know
Not
if
that
that.
it matters, I guess, but the 6 pointers was when DK was playing the Ravens, who's playing
Yeah,
unbelievable football, and the Niners. I'm just saying.
yeah, those are tough. I do think it's a push. Also, like he would have been also like he's you had Keenan Allen, so you could have made the move,
Yeah, it didn't matter.
and he had Kelsey, so he could have made the move. And I think it made his team better, and I think it made your team. I don't know. Push. I think it's a push.
Sure.
I really think it's a push.
I don't mind saying that I took the L on it, but I just don't see how it's. I don't
Yeah,
see an L in it.
yeah. I don't really either. I did try to get Devontae Adams from a cool and
Yeah.
settled on Mike Williams. Mike Evans. I would rather have Mike Evans than Devontae Adams or DK Metcalf.
So it's funny, and let's talk about our deal that we were about to do at the final hour.
No, that I wanted to do.
Yo,
You should have caught me when I was antsy, but we'll talk about that. Yeah,
and
I'd
a
rather have
cool
Mike Evans
offered
than
me
both of
Mike
them.
Evans that day too,
Oh
and,
no.
and I was like, nah, I gotta get DK just because I hate Baker as a football player.
Yeah, I hate
No,
Baker too, but
yeah,
numbers don't lie.
that's true.
All right, so the next one on November 1st, this is the only trade I really think uh 10 minutes late. Okay. So we got 10 minutes, but we can continue on we can open up a new one.
Yeah.
Um okay, so I think this is the only trade I really just actually lost. So I gave away Trey McBride to Rich for Chuba Hubbard. I needed a second running back. I didn't have a third running back rostered, and I had JT on bye, CMC on bye, so I needed a fourth running back. He was cheap. Nobody else really had a running back that they could spare. Um, Rich actually asked me for Trey McBride. He goes, what can I give you for Trey McBride? I said Hubbard. He said okay, and he said deal. But I definitely think I lost that.
You be blessing people with tight ends.
Yeah, it appears so. It appears so.
Because McBride has been fantastic.
Yeah, no, he really has. I had at one point this season I had Dalton Kincaid or Kincaid. I had him rostered, dropped him. Then Knox gets hurt and he's a beast. I had Dalton Schultz, who was a top 7 tight end when I like a top 10 tight end, moved him for
Mm-hmm.
nothing, basically. And then I gave away Trey McBride for nothing, basically.
Yeah,
So whatever. But I lost that.
happens.
Yeah, it happens. Next trade, Friday, November 3rd. A cool traded Rashad White to Grant for Tua Tagovailoa.
So I think Grant won,
Yeah, I agree too. I think that's an absolute W.
especially because he has Josh Allen.
Yep.
At that point, Akula had lost both of his quarterbacks. I don't remember. I knew he had Anthony Richardson. I
Tony
think he.
Rich and Russ Wilson were his
Oh,
running
I
back.
see.
But where his
And at that point,
quarterbacks?
he's probably just over Russ. But like, I mean, Tua's playing fine, but I think Grant got to start running back and didn't really lose anything because he wasn't going to play Tua anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, he got a starting running back for free, and I think Rashad White is better than Austin Eckler.
If
Like
we
let's call us if we want to call a spade, like Rashad White
right,
is better than Eckler.
if we just throwing it out there, this is what it is.
He's RB6 right now, averaging
Yeah,
14.8 a game. Since week 7, 15-9, 17-9, 27-9, 17-8, 17-8, 13. That's an RB2. That is
are
a
you in a
bona
position where we
fide.
about to call Eckler ass?
Yeah, I mean, he looks. Have you seen him run, bro?
Doug, he's running through sand.
Yeah, it looks like he's running through quicksand. It looks like DJ was like he looks like Eddie Lacy running.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
cap.
Rashad White is. I mean, right now he's technically an RB1 because he's position ranked 6, but he's been putting up RB2 numbers,
Yeah,
almost RB1 numbers every week. So definitely a dub for Grant.
it's real.
Next trade. This was just like my eyes bled when I saw this trade. Wednesday, November 8th. Keenan traded Devon Achane, Isaiah Pacheco, and Pat Mahomes to Joe for Gus Edwards, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Trevor Lawrence. I think Joe got the 3 best players in that deal.
Did he though?
Well, actually, Gus has been better than Isaiah Pacheco, and Devon
And
Achane has been hurt, came
and
back, and is hurt
Calvin's been
again.
balling recently.
Actually, yeah, 31-1 and a 21-9.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying,
Wow.
like at some point, Mahomes can't ride on his name. He's been shitty for a starting quarterback in fantasy this year.
Mahomes is quarterback position rank 8.
And you take him to for him to be 3 or 2, if we're being real.
He was drafted 22nd overall in the 2nd round, and he's QB 8, averaging 19 a game. He actually has 1, 2, 3, 4. He has 4 out of 11 games this season over 20 fantasy points.
Yeah.
He usually has like 8.
I got Brock Purdy for fish sandwich, and I think he's quarterback 7. Just throwing it out there. If we just call a spade, Mahomes ain't been it. Not that Trevor Lawrence has been it either, but I think Keenan won that.
Trevor Lawrence, 32-1-8 and a 24.5
Just saying.
in the last 2 weeks. You know what's funny?
So,
Joe said something about his QB wide receiver stack. He made a comment when he was trading. I'm gonna shit on you, Joe. I'm sorry. And I shit on him, and I was like, our QB 17 and wide receiver 42 is not a stack. It's a pile of hot garbage. Which is true. It's not a stack.
yeah,
But in the last, I mean, they did play Tennessee at home and then Houston on the road. But yeah, it's that stack has been that stack put together 63 or 64 points and another 40. That stack put together 100 points in 2 weeks. So
mm-hmm. And they ain't slowing down. It doesn't look like.
what's funny what's funny is that night or that morning, I was like, wow, that's insane that Joe got that deal.
Yeah.
But I think Keenan won that.
Yeah, for sure.
I really think with what we have, with the evidence that we have now, Trevor Lawrence has been better than Pat Mahomes. Calvin Ridley has been better than Devin Achane. Gus Edwards has been better than Pacheco. And then he just added DeAndre Hopkins for nothing. So
And what I love about the deal is that Keenan also recognized this Mahomes shit ain't working.
Oh yeah, good.
This is
He
bail. Yeah.
sold him for his name, which is good.
Yeah.
Keenan has won 1, 2, 3, 4 trades here. So interesting. Very nice.
Yeah.
All right, so then on November 10th, on November 10th,
Oh,
Odell and Justin Jefferson were traded for Aaron Rodgers. Okay, so I'll explain that to the people. I was tricked, I guess. We were at Chris's wedding, and it was me, Grant, the twins, and Josh, and we were sitting there, and we were talking about like, can you trade 2 players both on IR spots?
yeah.
And I was like, Grant, let's try it. You have Aaron Rodgers, I have Justin Jefferson. So we tried trading them. Long story short, like we had to like move a couple of things for it to go through, but it went through. And then they're all looking at me. They're like, "Oh, you," and then, "Oh, wait, no." So yeah, like Grant accepted the trade, and then Grant's like, "Ah," and everyone's like, "Bro, you idiot." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah. It's
That's
like you're
not
fine.
going to.
Yeah.
I'm
Like, let's
like,
just redo it.
"Are you kidding me?" I'm not. I was like, "Okay, just trade them back." And Grant's like, "No, are you kidding me? Like, I have Justin Jefferson now." I was like, "Dude, that's not." And like,
Yeah. Sorry, buddy.
and they're all looking at me like, "Are you stupid? Like, why would you do that?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"That's not a thing. Like, we're not going through with that trade. Like, that's so stupid."
Dude, it was so funny because Grant had come over to me and was like explaining that to me, but I don't think I registered it until I saw like the chat blowing up after, and I was
Yeah.
like dying. I was like, yeah, I was like, there's no way you guys are gonna stick with this.
Just acting a fool push. Just acting a fool on wedding night. So it is what it is. Everybody's having some fun.
Brought some fun to the day for sure.
Tuesday, November 14th. I traded Noah Brown to Joe for Zach Moss.
Oh God, dude. All right, I was so excited looking at your team with no Jonathan Taylor. I'm like, okay, I can win. And I see, oh shit, no, you got freaking Zach Moss. Like, it's like, what the hell?
Yep. You gotta wait until he's not worth anything, and then you send him you send him a piece of you send him a piece of poop. What does Dante say? Puppy shit.
Yeah.
That's what I
Puppy
said.
dog shit.
Think I won that one. Next one, November the 15th. I traded Adam Thielen and TJ Hawkinson tier to Josh for Jalen Warren and Mark Andrews tier.
I gotta ask you, bro, what was that about? Because Hawk was balling at that point.
Um I still if I could go back in time, I would make the same trade again. I would still do that. At the time I was giving up tight end 1 for tight end 3. Justin Jefferson was supposed to come back. I didn't want 2 pass catchers on the same team, especially with Josh Dobbs playing. And like what was the downgrade? TJ Hawkinson's to Mark Andrews? Like that's not, I don't think that's a downgrade. That's just like I think they literally both average the same. Like I don't Mark Andrews averages 13.5 a game. All right, and then Hawkinson was probably 15 a game, 15.5 a game.
So I guess
Um
my only question to you is like, Josh kept Najee, so you were just banking on like basically kind of like a half a running back at that point. Obviously,
I,
Warren was playing more.
yeah, so the thought process was I had 4 wide receivers and 2 running backs,
Yeah,
but for the playoffs I wanted 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers. So I gave away Thielen because at the time I had Thielen, Hollywood, Waddle, and Jefferson, and I knew I couldn't start one of them. So I was like, let me move one of these wide receivers for a running back. So I'll have 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers. I'm covered there. And then I didn't want Hawkinson anymore. I wanted to get a different tight end, and the only tight ends that I would have